We got Ramona Shelburne waiting to join us right now, and she is a busy lady. Momo, how are you, and how much is your head spinning right now?
And my head actually just hurts at this point. Last night it was spinning. Tonight it hurts. It's not even tonight. It's today. But none of us slept, right? I mean, it all happened so late. And I remember, like, I had a 7 a.m. Sports Center hit. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get up at 6 something. Let me try to get to bed at like 12:30. And I couldn't because my phone was, like, the whole league was still buzzing. Like players, executives, everyone was still just digesting.
I mean, obviously, this came out of left field for most. Like this sort of thing is rare. Like, one of the only analogs is precedence is Pau when Pau came to LA, and that the surprise that was. Not just how surprised are people, but what is the general reaction around the league to whether or not the Lakers really came out ahead here?
I mean, I think around the league, there's one resounding thing, which is why didn't the Mavericks open it up for a bidding war, right? Like, could they have gotten more for Luka Doncic if everyone in the league knows that it's time to get your best offers in, that they've decided to move on. But I in the reporting I've done on this, I think that Nico Harrison, who is the GM there, I think he made a calculation, and you can argue with this or not, but I see what he was doing, which is essentially, look, if you open this up, you're tanking this season. Like, you're putting the rest of the whole league on notice. It's poison for your relationship with Luka if he finds out, which he would. He's theoretically coming back from an injury. I mean, so I think he would have been back soon enough. And I think that it's, this was just clean. This is the cleanest way to do it. If you have a star that you like, I mean, you're trading a top 5 player for a top 15 player. It's pretty good. I mean, obviously there's a really big gap between top 5 and top 15. And also from a 25-year-old to a 31-year-old. So that's where the Lakers are betting on Luka Doncic's future. But I get why they had one team here. This is a pocket listing. He needed the utmost secrecy, security, trust, and he had that with Rob Pelinka. I mean, those guys traveled the world together with Kobe Bryant for 10 years. They really know each other. They really trust each other. And I think that's the only way this deal could have gotten done.
Okay, that raises a really interesting question to me, Momo. We're talking with Ramona Shelburne, covers all things NBA, all things everything for ESPN. Like, in terms of keeping this quiet and you're narrowing that circle of people that you'll talk to at all, like, how much of this do you think was the Mavericks wanting specifically Anthony Davis, and how much of this do you think it was we're pretty confident the Lakers are going to say yes, like this team will say yes, and therefore that will help us do it, like you said, cleanly?
I think they've wanted Anthony Davis for a long time. They've called about Anthony Davis several times over the past few years, and so the Lakers were well aware of how much Nico and Jason Kidd and all the Dallas guys liked Anthony Davis. They just had never been willing to discuss Luka, right? This is the first time they've ever been willing to put Luka in a conversation, and so that's what was different here. And I think also you have to remember this too. Like, they've played really well without Luka. He's been out for a lot of the season, and they've had some good stretches without him. As long as Kyrie Irving's out there, and I think they look at it and they go, Anthony Davis and Kyrie are going to be great together. And now you're going to be a top 5 defensive team, which is always the way that Jason Kidd wants to play. Like when the Lakers won their title, they had a construction a lot like this, except it was LeBron and Anthony Davis and not Kyrie and Anthony Davis. And I think they'll play really well together. And they might be, this is like kind of a win now move for the Mavs, even though it sounds counterintuitive, right? Like, how could you be better without Luka Doncic? But I think Anthony Davis is more the style and the way they want to play and the way that organization wants to run. Plus, it really was, you're going to see more deals like this when players approach what's called the super max that you can only get when you have 10 years with one franchise. And it's, $345 million was on the table. That's obviously that cost Luka a lot of money that he got traded. I mean, I think it's $116 million that it cost him because he's eligible to do an extension with the Lakers, but it's for $229 instead of $345, which is a staggering difference if you think about it. But think about contracts like Jaylen Brown signed or Jason Tatum signed. Like those are the kind of contracts that are going to be really difficult in the next CBA. And I think the Mavericks felt like, as much as they would want him to sign it, on the other hand, it's scary
they kind of don't. Right.
Yeah.
So from the Lakers' perspective, when Dallas says, okay, we've had these conversations about AD, we love him. Luka's on the table. What's your read on how the Lakers reacted and Rob Pelinka reacted to that? How fast did they say yes? Was it a complicated process? What went on?
It went on for a couple of weeks, apparently. I mean, I think initially, Luka was on the table, and then they had to figure out how to make this work. I kind of can't believe that they were able to hold on to Austin Reeves and the other number one pick that they have. It's staggering to me that they were able to hold on to that, those two assets. And I don't think they're done. I think they're going to go get another big guy because, they were already looking for a center, and now they just traded one of the best big men in the game. So that's interesting. And then I think we also have to think about the future of LeBron. Mm-hmm. Like this is you and I have talked a lot. Remember when Kobe was there, of like him passing the torch to Dwight, and is there a torch succession? Is there a relay race, right? Usually there's a gap. Usually there's a few years in between. And we all remember how ugly that gap was the last time. Remember when Kobe retired, it was like 6 years in the wilderness of lottery picks and being terrible and chasing after free agents who don't want to come. And then eventually LeBron said yes. But that was a long 6 years, long time there. And they were positioned to have to do that. They would still have AD, but he was probably the only thing that would get value after LeBron leaves. And is he enough to build a team around? And I think if you have a choice of building a team around Luka and building a team around Anthony Davis, who would be mid-30s by that point, I think that's pretty clear what you do.
Do you see this as more of a move than for the future than this season? Like, or do you expect the Lakers to be really aggressive over the next, 96 hours to try to put themselves in as much contention for this season?
I think they're still very aggressive, and I think there's a lot of things still out there. I mean, everyone around the league right now is shook, but there's some big stuff being talked about right now that could still happen before the trade deadline, not just with the Lakers, but around the league with big names and all-star caliber players moving teams, and so it's all everybody kind of seeing where they stand after last night. But there's a lot of other stuff going on, and just the vibe you get. Like, I'll tell you this: like when teams have a lot going, they're hard to reach, right? They're under the hood, they're doing a lot, they're secretive, etc. And I haven't noticed much of a difference in the Lakers the last 24 hours than I have before that. They've been head down working, and I feel like there's, at least the vibe I get from other teams and agents, is there's still a lot to come.
Well, I imagine you're going to be head down working as well, Momo. Ramona Shelburne, she is the best. Thank you very much.